Welcome guys to another session in the Mind Grid, and today again continuing the topic of WaveDrom, we're discussing how to create Bitfield diagrams for the hardware designers. So just to give you an example of what a Bitfield diagram looks like, here's an example which shows that when you operate on a word which is broken down, it could be a header in, let's say, MAC or Ethernet, IP header, etc., VLAN. There are multiple protocols. Each protocol could have a header of certain size, let's say, with lots of fields in them. And if you want to depict those, you have to draw diagrams. And usually this is very time consuming work. So here's a way by using WaveDrom, the JSON format. Once you understand this, you can churn out these diagrams pretty quickly, or if changes are required, you can modify them quickly. So that is kind of what we'll do today. And without ado, let's dive into the example here. And so the way it's going to get done today in this example is that we have this structure. So it has two parts. First is the definition of all the register bits that you need, and then there's a config. So these are the two parts that we will use. The reg, as you can see, you have to define bit widths. So in this case, we define bits to be the width. In this case, I'm not using this. So unused, you can put it like that. And then you define all the bit fields like that. So DP is my next field, and then so on and so forth. So the other things are there are colors. So in the colors, you can use type. And I think type 2 is white and so on and so forth. You can use different colors. So you can use different types. Type 2, 6, 4, etc. have been used. So you can follow along. Now, attributes, they're usually found below the field. So if you want to write some sort of text for this field, you can write it below. For example, for DP, there's a type, and so it shows up right below this, right? And so this is another way to show any other extra attributes or text that you want. So that's something here. And then you have, let's see what other things. So these are all just standard things. And then I think the other is config. So how does it lay it out? So for layout, you have two major things like a vertical space, which is how much distributed this shows, and horizontal space, which is how stretched out it is. So let's say we make it like 600. Let's say we make it 600, right? So you see that it's more tighter laid out. And if you make this to be, let's say, 50, for example, let's say we make it like 50. So you see that each of the rows is kind of squeezed in, and we can make it better again, 75 or maybe even 90. You see this looks bigger. 90 is too much. Let's make it 80. Even that's not so good. 70, that's kind of just right. So now you can see that the horizontal stuff here is not so looking so good. So we can make this bigger. Let's try 800. now you can read, excuse me. Now you can read all the field sizes appropriately. You could even make it 900. And that's a pretty nice looking diagram there. So you can see that with vspace and hspace, you can appropriately adjust it. Now, total number of bits is 128, and there are 4 lanes. So accordingly, this diagram is laid out. You can see the first field described does show on the top, right? So that's how this layout is. Now you can flip this. So either you can flip it on a horizontal axis or vertical axis. In this case, both of them are flipped to be true, and therefore it's appearing like this. Now, if you set both of them to be false, it's probably going to show up like this, but this 31 is going to show up on the left side. So again, it just depends on how you want it, but you can try the flips to see exactly, make it look like how you want it to come out. The final thing is compact. So compactness of this, if you just make this true, right now you see there's a bunch of stuff showing underneath. So I've set compact to be false, but you can just like pack it. So you can make this to be true. And if you do that, see, it kind of makes it compact, right? Another thing you can do at this point is increase this vertical space to maybe a little bit bigger so that you can see those texts underneath for the DP field showing up here, etc. But I would say set compact to be false if you're going to show attributes, etc. You should not do this. Compact is a very simple format, and so I would really like this to be false. And so this is how I'd like it to be. And then I can go back to my vertical space to be 70. And that's much more tighter, looks nice. And it kind of looks in the format that I would like it. The only thing I dislike right now is that, it shows up with 31 on this side, 31 down to 0. I don't like that. I really want this to look like this to be false, and the horizontal flip also to be false. That's my usual mode, and I'll show you how to, if you want to design it this way so that 127 is on top and 0 is at the bottom. This is how I prefer this diagram to be. I want it to be false and false, but then my first field is at the bottom here. In the stack of fields, I put my top field to be at the bottom, and then I build it up from the bottom up. And that's what you should do if you prefer it to be in this format. But you can play with it a little bit and get it in exactly the format that you want. Now, there is a place where you can go see all the attributes being described. For example, they even show you, how to put weird labels like these. I'll put these in the description, which shows you how. Now, keep in mind the way they have showed this, it's not going to work if you just cut paste this. So you have to kind of pay attention to how they have put the JSON and make sure you know how the example design is and format it accordingly. But it is possible to put these complex things in there and play with all these various things. They show you how to do everything just as I've described, and you can pack it, you can change the colors, you can try all these various attributes, sizes, font sizes, etc. So I'll leave a description here. Then I think that is kind of all I wanted to cover in this tutorial. So with that, I'm just going to end this. And I would say if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, or leave me some comments, and I'll catch you in another video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.